Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, the world is healing. The Red Sea has parted, the Israelites are crossing over it, and the waves are coming back in, about to crush the Egyptian army and Pharaoh, because Grace Randolph, ladies and gentlemen, has changed her tune and has turned against none other than Disney, Lucasfilm, Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy, Bob Iger, Dave Filoni, and of course, Leslie Headland, all in one foul swoop. If you hadn't heard, ladies and gentlemen, this week's episode of The Acolyte, episode 7, was absolutely lambasted by pretty much everyone. It did exactly what we knew that they were going to do, completely and totally deconstructing the Jedi, making them out to be the bad guys, making them out to be the evildoers, and all along it's knew what we were going to do. They were subverting our expectations, after all, boys and girls, and they've done a wonderful job doing that, especially with the audience, because it has the lowest Rotten Tomatoes audience score of any Star Wars property of all time. Yes, boys and girls, it's worse than the holiday special. So things have not been going very well for this series. And needless to say, I've been saying for a while, ladies and gentlemen, come here to the Common Nerds channel for a little bit, a dose of hopium, boys and girls. No more black pills around here. No more clown pills. Well, we can still be a clown pill. I love laughing at all of this insanity, but also it's hopium, boys and girls. The pendulum is swinging back because Grace Randolph herself, Acolyte, purveyor of the spirit of the age, an absolute shill for a lot of these major corporations, has reached her breaking point, ladies and gentlemen. She can no longer stand there and flat out lie, saying this stuff is amazing and wonderful. They have even broken our dear, sweet Grace. And ladies and gentlemen, we are here for it, because everything Disney touches turns to dust. And this is one disastrous dumpster fire that he's even lit a fire under our dear sweet Grace. So we're going to check out this article from thatparkplace.com by our dear sweet John F. Trent, give you all of the juicy details, see exactly what Grace has said, and then of course maybe even go over some of the reactions of the internet as well, because our dear sweet Gary Buechler over at Nerdrotic had a wonderful comment on this as well. So before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, because we are getting closer and closer to 800 followers on Rumble and 800 subscribers over there on YouTube, and I could not do this without every single one of you. Also, we are a completely and totally fan-funded show. We don't, obviously, you guys don't see any advertisements in these videos or anything like that. At least you're not supposed to, YouTube. But you guys, this is my full-time job, and you guys do keep the lights on around here, so please check out the links in the description down below if you can help support for that. If not, by all means, just share these links out on your social media, and we really do appreciate it. Leave us a comment down below as well, either in the live chat while we're currently recording this, or of course in the comment section down below, and let us know what you think, if this is a great sign, or if maybe you think even Grace is just fed up with the BS. So, YouTuber personality Grace Randolph turns on Lucasfilm, The Acolyte, says episode 7 was awful after claiming criticism of the show was hate speech. So, Grace, is this hate speech? Are you just a racist and a misogynist, and you don't like seeing strong women and strong women of color and strong women that are in the LGBTQ alphabet soup mafia group succeed? Grace, are you a bigot? No, we know better than that, don't we, Grace? Even you have a breaking point, and even you have to eventually go, okay, this is hot garbage. And I think that's what's happened, boys and girls. YouTuber personality Grace Randolph has finally turned on the Walt Disney Company, and Lucasfilm described the most recent episode as awful. Randolph shared her initial thoughts on X, simply writing, #TheAcolyte, aw man, that was awful. Obviously with the little Kim Kardashian, little over-dramatized little GIF over there as well. GIF, whatever, fight me in the comments, I don't care. Randolph's about face on the show was quite dramatic. Back in June, after the first 2 episodes premiered, Randolph was calling the majority of people criticizing the show grifters. Weird. No, see, Grace, this is where you get things wrong before. It's not that anybody's grifters. Well, there's probably a couple of people out there who are, but that's okay. Hey, it's part of the hustle. And you know what? By all means, do your thing, chicken wing. Hate the game, not the player. But at the end of the day, no. We just listen to what the people involved with the production say, like Leslie Headland or, Kathleen Kennedy. And then we listen to the actors and the actresses in the marketing. And when all we hear about is representation and subverting expectations and going in and changing the way the balance of power and how the force works and yada, 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 well, we already kind of know where this is going. So, yeah, were the first 2 episodes not absolutely abysmal? Sure. But there was only a little bit of redeeming characters in a couple of things, and you had a bait and switch with Carrie Ann Moss, and the only redeeming character in the whole thing, you have now in this last episode made out to be the villain. So congratulations, even a guy like me who roasts this stuff all of the time, the only good character I thought you had in the entire show, you have now made out to be the bad guy. Congratulations. Congratulations, Disney Star Wars, for subverting our expectations once again. So, Grace, we're not grifters. We just can read the tea leaves. We've seen what they've done in the past, and guess what? History doesn't just repeat itself, it also rhymes. We knew the Acolyte was going to be hot garbage because everything before this has been hot garbage, and the only time we ever got good stuff is when they weren't saying things like this about representation. So, yeah, Grace, we knew what was coming. She wrote on June 6th, I think it's funny that anti-The Acolyte people are yelling shill at anyone who likes it. Yet the hate is largely being driven by people who are making money off it, a.k.a. grifters. I don't make any money off ad revenue, lady. After calling people criticizing the show grifters and making it clear she had a problem with it, Randolph hypocritically followed up by writing, by the way, I have no problem if you don't like The Acolyte, but there's no need to go full Sith on it. Aw, Grace, do you think some people are being a little too overcritical on the show? This is what happens when you have fans that are passionate about something. They love these properties, right? They don't invest thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars, and countless hours of their time going over the lore, studying things, reading all the books, collecting all the figures, building all of the models, going back and rewatching the movies over and over and over again, looking for every detail, analyzing every single thing, reading every comic book about their property. They don't do this if they're not passionate and love something. And you know what, Grace? Maybe you just love Hollywood. And maybe you just love talking about Hollywood things and movies and television shows. And that's fine. But don't judge the people that are truly fans, that are truly in love with a property that has helped them through hard times and made them their good times even better. Do not judge them for being upset, for seeing the desecration of something that they loved. They're going to get upset about it. They're going to be overcritical, and they're going to be harsh because Disney Star Wars has fed them pile of shit after pile of shit. And every time we come out and call it shit, we get accused of being bigots and racists and homophobes and every other bullshit label people like you, Grace Randolph, have thrown at us. So forgive us for being a little passionate, for being a little upset, for being a little angry, for just wanting actual good Star Wars. It's basic, simple things that we want. Respect the lore, respect what came before you, and don't shit all over the people that you stand on the shoulders of. But I get it, Grace. You're not a Star Wars fan. You're probably a casual, and that's okay. There's plenty of casuals. Hell, the majority of a lot of the figurines and the movie ticket sales only become billion-dollar franchises because of casuals. But don't you dare fucking judge any of us for getting upset about what they've done to franchises that have helped some of us in the fellowship through some of their darkest times. Don't you dare judge us for that, Grace Randolph. After all, he who is without sin cast the first stone. Less than a week after describing the majority of people disliking the show as grifters, Randolph claimed that the Disney would struggle to cast people in Star Wars moving forward because the actors receiving hate. I will say that I think it's going to be very hard for Disney to cast upcoming Star Wars projects because the level of hate just isn't worth it, even for up-and-coming actors. Like poor Lee Jung-jae, coming off Squid Game, doing a great job on The Acolyte. And for what? What do you mean, for what? Like, I did an entire video praising Homeboy. Because guess what? He did the work. He did the effort. He flat out told us he didn't know squat about. He didn't know much about Star Wars at all. He didn't even speak English before this show. And guess what? He did what every one of you out there in Hollywood should do. He studied the lore. He studied the history. He wanted to embody Qui-Gon Jinn. He learned fucking English for the role. That guy is a boss. That guy is an OG. He's the only reason I would give this show any redeeming qualities whatsoever. Because guess what? If every other person inside of Disney Star Wars was just like him, there ain't a single fan out there that'd be crying or complaining in any real capacity whatsoever. Because this guy knows what's up. This guy knows how to get into a franchise you don't know much about. And he did a great job. He's the only redeeming aspect of this entire garbage, abysmal, disastrous dumpster fire of a show, Grace Randolph. And I don't hear him crying or complaining about any of that nonsense. No, I hear the little mixed girl with the very rich white daddy throwing out diss tracks to everybody. You know, maybe you should look at the people you're trying to support and fluff out there. And maybe the way they act towards the fans might be one of the reasons why we're a little overcritical of this Disney hot garbage. But of course, that would require you to read the room and look outside your bubble. And of course, Grace, you can't do that. I understand why some of you are frustrated with Star Wars right now, and I'm by no means trying to tell you your feelings wrong. I do feel the loudest voices against the Acolyte are taking on hate speech qualities, and this does not help your cause. As for me, I generally like the show. I'm excited for you to see episode 4 on Tuesday. The best 4 episodes I saw in it. Oh, the best of the 4 episodes I saw in advance. The Acolyte videos are meant to be space for people who do like the show, and those who might not like it are open to discussing it. Does Lucasfilm poke the bear? Absolutely. That's an understatement. That's an understatement by calling all their fans racist, homophobes, and sexists. I wonder why these videos don't get very much traction. Should there be a broader range of Star Wars content? Absolutely. I don't know. Maybe how about something doing with, like, I don't know, all of the people that ever fell in love with? But I feel The Acolyte is generally a good show with awful timing. And it's sitting down at a table where the odds were stacked against it, which is unfortunate. But like I said, like we know, boys and girls, so much has changed. In fact, in her episode 6 breakdown, Randolph has continued to sing the show's praises. She said it's hard to follow up an episode as amazing as 5, and to be honest with you, I think episode 6 doesn't quite live up to the challenge. The only thing we'll be satisfied after so much glorious act is a dump of answers. Instead, we get promises of answers to come in episode 7. She would later state, there are a lot of people who hate out of the gate for this show. There was a lack of positivity to combat it. Now we're finding ourselves in a space where it seems, evenly matched. So that's really important for the show. Except now, Grace, you said it's awful. So are you a bigot? Are you a hater? Are you a grifter? Have you just seen the tides turn and that's the way you're going? Or has they've just genuinely broken you? I don't know yet, and honestly, I really don't care either way. It's one of those things is that hypocrisy needs to be called out, and this is a person who's an absolute hypocrite. She talks out of both sides of her mouth, and, when she out there decides to accuse all of us of being all of these horrible things and using hate speech to criticize a show that legitimately deserves it, and a company that completely and totally legitimately deserves it as well. And that's what we're continuing to do. And that's what we will continue to do until either things get better or they all go bankrupt. Either way, I'm good with both of those kind of situations. But Grace Randolph is a person who literally lives on access and early access. The only reason anybody watches Grace Randolph's stuff is because we know she got the first 4 episodes up front and got to see everything before the rest of us. But you know what? That's why so many people out there come to YouTube. That's why so many people come to Rumble and look for actual honest critiquers out there that they can trust. Because what many of us aren't paid out there. We don't get access. We don't get early access. We watch things with all of you guys out there, the same as all of the rest of you, and judge it the same way you do. And boys and girls, this thing has been judged. Grace Randolph is so far off, it's not even funny. When you have a show that literally has the lowest Rotten Tomatoes audience score of all time, and you have critics out there trying to shill for it, giving it an 85 and 89%, you know there's a serious disconnect. And this right here is why the shill media, the access media, and the legacy institutions out there in Hollywood are failing, are dying off, constantly laying off people, and trying to reformat their way out of things, because they know independent content creators and independent critics out there have overtaken them. Long is gone to the days of Siskel and Ebert judging absolutely everything and all of us flocking to them and trusting them. No one trusts those systems anymore, and those guys are long gone at this point. That's why you come to places like this. That's why you go to other places out there on the internet to find people you can actually trust. So is Grace Randolph changing her tune, or is she going to end up going out there and actually being critical of things? No. She's a Hollywood shill, and she won't do anything to rock the boat to get her access. But it's still funny to point out her hypocrisy, and that's exactly what we need to do and continuing to do it, because it is our job around here, ladies and gentlemen, to document the disastrous dumpster fire that is all things Disney, and especially when it comes to Disney, Lucasfilm, and Star Wars, and the hypocrisy of Grace Randolph. So Grace Randolph, welcome to the table, but I think you're only here for a snack, and you're going to run off again because you need to go right back to your Disney masters to make sure you got access. I'm not going to ask how you get it. I don't care, but keep on shilling, Grace. We know you're just nothing more than a hypocrite.